Hello and welcome to Spectrum TV News at 4. I am Frank Sizadeh, coming to you live from President Buhari to stay additional week in London for dentists. Pakistan top court orders release of ex-Prime Minister Khan, declares his arrest invalid. Begin the news with a report that Nigeria's leader, President Muhammadu Buhari, will be in London, United Kingdom, for an on media and publicity Femi Adesina. According to Adesina, the specialist requires to see the President. Federal Executive Council has approved multi-billionaire construction contract barely 18 days to the end of the President Muhammadu Buhari's administration. The Minister of Transportation, Muazu Sambo, and while the federal government has said that the sum of 22.44 billion naira was earmarked to feed inmates in all the custodial centers across the country. Speaking at a two-day conference on decongestion and corrections administration in Abuja, vote for the reform of the service and custodial center for the smooth rehabilitation of 29.8 billion naira for various projects in the Ministry of Niger Delta Affairs, particularly the mandate of the United Nations Environment Programme on Ogoni cleanup. Sini Osibanja at the State House, Abuja. He said the money would cater for the second phase of the Ogoni water project and the central remediation of newly identified hydrocarbon impacted sites. Recall that in August 2011, the United Jonathan administration made recommendations to the then government, the oil and gas industry and communities to begin a comprehensive cleanup of Ogoni land, restore polluted locations and end all forms of ongoing oil contamination in the region. The operation was eventually flagged off in June 2016 by the Vice President with the re-inauguration of the cleanup project and setup of hydrocarbon pollution remediation project HYPREP to oversee the total rehabilitation of the contaminated. Elsewhere, the federal government has announced that Nigeria's oil production is currently lower than its technical allowable capacity by about 1 million barrels per day. It attributed the low oil output to challenges such as lack of investments, insecurity, and reduction in hydrocarbon funding arising from energy transition, among others. The government disclosed these through the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission at the host Commissioner, Economy, Regulatory and Strategic Planning (NUPRC), Kelechi Ofuebu, represented by Komolafe, noted that while the Commission is prioritizing efforts towards increasing oil and gas production and ensuring maximum federation revenue through the optimization of oil and gas value chain, the efforts have been constrained by a myriad of challenges. Meanwhile, the Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Zainab Ahmed, has known at the 25th Annual Tax Conference of the Chartered Institute of Taxation of Nigeria in Abuja. The minister, who was represented by the Director Tax Policy, Federal Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Bashar Abdul Qadir, said the ministry would work on the country to have a robust engagement on how Nigeria can harness the potentials to benefit from the digital economy. Meanwhile, the Minister of State for Budget and National Planning claimed initiated to support micro, small and medium-scale enterprises to cushion the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. The minister stated these are the ministerial town hall meeting for beneficiaries of the scheme from a declaration, since many of them would be getting new governors and the cash crunch occasioned by COVID-19 was still not over and still affecting the states. We move now and order the agency to recover the sum of $10 million it paid as legal and technical charges without recourse to the Consolidated Revenue Fund. The indictment was a sequel to the reports of 2017 and 2018 of the Auditor General of the Federation conceded by the Senate Public Accounts Committee, which was upheld at the plenary session. A $5 million not disclosed was expected to carry out necessary legal actions that would enable NIMESA to perfect intelligence-based efforts to track the nation's hydrocarbon global movement. Addressing journalists, the vice chairman of the Senate Public Accounts Committee, Hassan Hadija, said the committee had been able to submit 2015 to 2018 reports to the Senate. From the judiciary, September 14th, the lead lawyer for IPOB and human rights activist Ifeanyi Ejiofor, in a statement, appealed to the Supreme Court to set aside the ruling of the Court of Appeal staying the execution of the court's judgment discharging him and placing a further bar to any further detention and prosecution of Nnamdi Kanu on any charge and indictment before any court in Nigeria. Reports say IPOB filed a suit at the Apex Court against the verdict. In a related development, the Ohanaeze Ndigbo has called on President Muhammadu Buhari to release the detained leader of the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, Nnamdi Kanu. This appeal came today from the new president of the Apex Igbo Socio-Cultural Group, Emmanuel Iwanyanwu. He spoke at the flag-off of the pre-dredging and hydrographic survey of the proposed sea access route of the Orashi-Uguta waterways through Degima to the Atlantic Ocean. And back here, small and medium-sized businesses and operators in the of their businesses. Our correspondent Esther Otoyo reports.
Small and medium-sized operators in Uyo have complained the high rate of taxation and the negative impact of the cash crunch on their business. They said in an interview that multiple taxation is one of the major factors affecting their business.
We pay, and there are so many fake tax. I'm telling you, 30,000, 15,000. They you to pay the tax. As we can see, there is no work. Nothing is moving here. But when they came, it's for them to come and get the money from you. After 2 months, you see another receipt coming with another receipt. After 2 another receipt come with another receipt.
But they're doing the bank to get to withdraw money and come so we can pay our school fees. And that was I think that is what has made the school to extend their portal to this very moment.
The business operators solicit the state government to make available a favorable tax policy that will solve the problem of multiple taxation and enormous tax burdens on SMEs.
The government should trace that so that we know exactly the one that's real, the one that is from government, you understand, and the fake ones.
Looking at the fact that essentially most Nigerians here just want a better life, and if you cannot get a better life from the government, at least just don't to just look out for all those people that sells and try and make sure that we have easy access to sell our products, so as to encourage more people to come out. So and it would reduce poverty, because if people have this opportunity of coming out to sell their product without being harassment from any agency or the other, I believe it could reduce poverty and also increase the employment rate increase entrepreneurial rate in the country. That's what I just believe.
SMEs, according to reports, has Esther Otoyo for Spectrum News.
We move now to Africa, where the United Nations UN Human Rights Council is set to hold an emergency session in Geneva today to discuss the ongoing conflict in Sudan. According to the UN, there are reports of widespread human rights violations, including attacks on civilians, sexual violence, and the looting of hospitals. The Council disclosed allegations. Reports say the session was called for by Britain, the US, Germany, and Norway. Still in Africa, the authorities in Guinea has released 3 society activists who had in prison. The men from the National Front for the Defense of the Constitution were freed after a day of protest against the military junta which seized power in September of 2021. The organizers of the rally say 7 people died and dozens were wounded in clashes with the security forces, while hospitals reported just 2 deaths. Reports say the protests were the latest in a series of demonstrations against the military leaders who have delayed a return to civilian rule. The first transfer of forfeited Russian assets for use in Ukraine were transferred to the State Department. The Treasury Department said millions of assets were seized from a U.S. bank account belonging to the Russian oligarchs Konstantin Malveviv in June. Recall that Garland first revealed in February that he had authorized the first transfer of forfeited assets from sanctions against a Russian oligarch that would go toward aiding Ukraine. This week invalid after a spark nationwide civil unrest. Bandel also asked Khan to issue an appeal to his supporters to remain peaceful following 2 days of turmoil in the streets. According to reports, after being ousted from power in a no-confidence vote by lawmakers, Khan was faced with multiple corruption charges. Still to come in the news. The Minister of Mines and Steel Development, Olamilekan Adebiti, has said that the informal trading of unprocessed gold is driving capital flight and job losses in the country. The gold processing plant in Mopamoro local government area of Kogi State. According to the statement, the minister explained that the Nigeria's Keys Belt is known to host rich deposit belt states can easily have access to the plant for their gold processing and refining activities respectively. He added that the facility houses state-of-the-art gold processing machinery and equipment, over 30 stalls and administrative block. Meanwhile, the World Bank has disclosed that Nigeria and other metals and mineral resource-rich countries in sub-Saharan Africa can double Africa's resource future report, noting that the countries could achieve double revenue by adopting a better set of policies, implementing reforms, investing in better fiscal administration, and promoting good governance. The Washington-based bank said that on average, countries capture only about 40% of them unable to make needed development investment due to high borrowing and debt service cost. We move to health, where a United States panel of health experts has voted in favor of making birth control pills available without a prescription, a move backed by reproductive rights advocates, especially in the wake of a Supreme Court ruling overturning the national right to abortion. The independent panel voted that the benefits of allowing the medicine or pill to be sold over the counter outweigh the risks. The prescription bill has taken on new urgency in light of a Supreme Court decision overturning the constitutional right to abortion, leading to numerous bans and severe restrictions in conservative states. Reports say if the pill is approved, the U.S. would allegedly join more than 100 other countries where the pill is available without a prescription. Oluwaseun Akimbobola has said that the survival rate from oral cancer will be around 90% if detected early. Akimbobola said this when the dental clinic under the umbrella of the Beacon Hill Smile Foundation held the maiden edition of its oral cancer awareness walk in partnership with Lakeshore Cancer Center to mark the 2023 International Oral Cancer Awareness. In a press statement, Medivel serves a much-needed worldwide awareness. We move to sports, where the Inter-Management Committee (IMC) has rescheduled all Nigeria Premier Football League Group and Match Day 18 fixtures. According to IMC, the matchday 18 games, which were earlier slated for this weekend, will hold the CAF Confederation Cup. Recall that the league body announced on Tuesday that Group B matches will end on May 21st. Still in sports, Serie A champions Napoli have reportedly increased their asking price for star player Victor Osimhen after he inspired the club's first Scudetto in 33 years. Italian outfit Il Mattino said the Azzurri bought a 24-year-old striker this summer. Bayern Munich, PSG, Arsenal, Chelsea and Manchester United are reportedly interested in signing Osimhen in the summer transfer window. Despite Napoli president Aurelio De Laurentiis repeatedly saying the club would not sell Osimhen this summer, it is understood that the Serie A side will do business if they receive him this season. On our entertainment news, famous Nigerian rapper and activist Folarin Falana, popularly known as Falz, has called for prayers as he undergoes surgery. Falz made the request in a video posted on his Instagram page of surgery. Still on entertainment, Nigerian superstar Rema has continued his domination of the Billboard Afrobeat Songs chart. In the latest installment of Billboard Afrobeat Songs chart, May 13, Rema's Calm Down continues its historic run at the top of the chart. The single has now spent a record 36 weeks at the top while entering its 59th week on the chart. YouTube channel, all of which you can find on our website, spectrum.ng. You've been watching Spectrum TV News at 4. I am Francis Edit. Many thanks for being there and do enjoy the rest of your day.